everyone! I have wanted to make this video for a while, ever since I came across a very special Jedi Master on my journey through the planet Ossus in Star Wars The Old Republic. In this video, we are going to take a deep dive into the history of Jedi Master Ood Bnar and his significance to the overall story of the expanded universe. I'm Illeva, and welcome to another of my videos where we examine and discuss the lore surrounding the Old Republic era of the Star Wars universe. If you are a Star Wars fan, then make sure to subscribe to my channel, especially if you're looking for more journeys through the Old Republic. So sit back, relax, and I hope you'll enjoy your journey. Ood Bnar was introduced in the Tales of the Jedi comic book series in the mid-90s as a mysterious and very wise Jedi of the Old Republic thousands of years before the Skywalker saga's timeline, depicting a time of war between the ancient Sith and Jedi, preceding and often referred to in BioWare and Obsidian's Knights of the Old Republic games and Star Wars The Old Republic. Bnar is a Neti, a sentient shape-shifting plant believed to have evolved from the trees on Myrkr. The Neti species are all force sensitive, but only the most skilled of them were capable of morphing into a humanoid shape. Their species is as rare as Yoda, largely due to the fact that their colonized world was destroyed in a horrific cataclysmic supernova, wiping out most of the species, becoming almost a myth. Bnar emerged as a sapling sometime before the Great Hyperspace Wars in 5000 BBY on the Neti colonized forest world called Reek, approximately a millennium before its destruction. According to the Tales of the Jedi Companion, Bnar at some point during his youth, which could easily span a century, was marooned on his ancestral homeworld Myrkr, which had been abandoned by the Neti for unknown reasons before he joined the Jedi Order. Some may know the planet Myrkr for another species introduced in the expanded universe, the Isalamiri lizard, which was used by Grand Admiral Thrawn in the original Legends novels by Timothy Zahn for their natural ability to repel the Force, which was symbolically adapted into his first appearance in Disney's Star Wars Rebels. Bnar became a revered Jedi Master and scholar, specializing in dark side knowledge, something most Jedi were told to be careful about so as to not fall into temptation. Bnar possessed the extraordinary ability to sever or detach himself completely from the subject matter of his studies, and therefore never fell for the lure of the dark side. This made him particularly valuable as a source of knowledge for the Jedi in their fight against the Sith. He befriended a Jedi Master named Ood Bnar, who had fought the Sith in the Great Hyperspace Wars, the massive conflict caused by Sith Lord Naga Sadow after two hyperspace explorers, Gav and Jory Daragon, stumbled upon Korriban by sheer accident, to then let Jory flee back to the Republic so Sadow, who wanted to expand the Sith Empire, would follow her. After Naga Sadow's defeat and self-imposed exile to Yavin 4, Ood Bnar founded the Great Jedi Library the same year in remembrance of his late master Uru at the location of his Padawan training, on Ossus. Ood Bnar became the head librarian and keeper of antiquities, while Ood Bnar became its understudy, the one to take his place if or when Ood Bnar would pass away. The library became known for its abundance of knowledge of both Jedi and Sith text scrolls, artifacts and relics, and was the epicenter for the Jedi for centuries. As a common practice, Bnar was encouraged to construct his own holocron to safekeep his knowledge, especially about the Sith and the dark side, for generations to come, which was passed on before his death to help other Jedi Masters to teach their students, such as Master Thon on Umbria, teaching his student Nomi Sunrider, who also became a prominent Jedi during the Old Republic era. Despite being such a knowledgeable master, Bnar only had one apprentice in his entire lifetime, Shayla Noor, a female human whom he trained at some point before 4000 BBY. Shayla showed such pure potential that Bnar gave her one of the oldest and most powerful focusing crystals, a Solari, when he taught her to construct her own lightsaber. She went on to participate in the Great Hunt after the Great Sith War, a series of skirmishes to clean up the corruption of the Sith spawns created during the war. And if you paid attention in Knights of the Old Republic video game, you will also know what became of her fate. Bnar played a pivotal role during the Great Sith War as Exar Kun, a former Jedi trained on Dantooine who had fallen to the dark side, had gathered allies in the form of Massassi warriors, the Krath cult, and the armies of Mandalore the Indomitable, and waged a destructive war against the Republic and the Jedi. One of the many casualties was Bnar's dear friend, Master Ood Bnar. Kun had cut down Ood Bnar and taken possession of the Dark Holocron, which led Ood Bnar to become the new head librarian and keeper of antiquities, although only for a short but important time. The Great Sith War led to many battles all over the galaxy, and one in particular, the Battle of Complex 9, had devastating consequences for Ossus and its great library. The young Sith sorcerer and co-founder of the Krath cult, Alima Keto, was tricked into harnessing the power of Naga Sadow's Sith crystal aboard his ancient warship, the Corsair, unknowingly that she would not be able to fully control it, which caused the detonation of the Kron cluster, at which she also perished. The blast of the 10 suns exploding sent a massive shockwave through space that would decimate everything in its path, including the Jedi world Ossus. Amidst the planet-wide evacuation, Bnar was one of the leading masters to attempt preserving scrolls, relics, and ancient lightsabers that had been gathered over centuries to be transferred to the Jedi Enclave on Dantooine. Meanwhile, Exar Kun took the opportunity of the chaos to land on Ossus to raid the Jedi Library for any relics and valuables before its destruction. Last Jedi out of the Great Library's vault with a handful of ancient lightsabers, Bnar was intercepted by Kun and his Massassi warriors, who were determined not to leave empty-handed from Ossus. Knowing he couldn't escape, Bnar stood his ground and ignited one of the ancient lightsabers, but he was at a massive disadvantage. Ood Bnar was a scholar, not a skilled duelist. Exar Kun was skilled at the use of a double-bladed lightsaber and had been trained by Vodo Sios Bas, a Jedi Master who was an expert in lightsaber combat. But Bnar was an expert at using the Force. Evading several strikes from Kun, Bnar knew he could not win this fight, so he used his ultimate ability as a Neti by transforming himself into his true tree-like form above his saved collection of ancient lightsabers, denying Exar Kun of his prize. He dug his roots deep into the soil of Ossus, preparing himself against the incoming devastation, but not before he got to say goodbye to his friend Master Thon, who could not fathom Bnar's choice to anchor himself to Ossus. Unable to move, Bnar got to explain that this was the nature of his species' life cycle, although a bit early, and that he might even survive the cataclysm with some help of his friend Ossus. If you have read the comic book series called Dark Empire from the mid-90s, where we follow Luke Skywalker's journey to Ossus in the expanded universe, you know Ood Bnar survived this onslaught. However, in more recent times, we've had the privilege to meet him long before the time of the Skywalker saga. In Star Wars The Old Republic, during Game Update 5.10 Jedi Under Siege, leading up to an expansion named Onslaught, we travel to Ossus 369 years after its destruction. Jedi Master, Keeper of the Jedi Archives, and High Council member Nostral had led a small group of surviving Jedi and civilian volunteers to the ancient Jedi world during the time of the Eternal Empire. A hidden colony has been established, successfully growing crops in its toxic and radioactive soil, as well as giving the Jedi an opportunity to explore the ancient ruins that were once the Great Jedi Library. This happened just as war between the Sith Empire and Galactic Republic is renewed, with the planet right on the Empire's doorstep, which of course leads to direct conflict on Ossus, which in turn means the Jedi again have to evacuate. In a stark parallel, Nostral, just like Ood Bnar, tries to save as many of the ancient relics, tomes, and artifacts from the ruined Jedi Library, but is intercepted by the Emperor's wrath, Darth Malgus, who is also searching for relics in secret. According to a codex entry, during his time on Ossus, Nostral came across Ood Bnar in his tree-like form in deep hibernation. It states that he and many other Jedi have meditated at Bnar's roots, hoping to communicate and learn from the ancient Jedi, but thus far Ood Bnar has offered no response. As part of a long puzzle to collect a Datacron, you as the player can visit Ood Bnar's dwelling, where you will find him dormant in his trance-like state. Once you have completed the puzzle, you visit him a final time to interact with the Datacron at the foot of Bnar's roots. He does not awaken, but he seemingly does give a blessing. This could be perceived as a sheer game mechanic to earn a reward, but it could also be seen as the test of worth by Ood Bnar, to see if you were the one to awaken him. He remained in his century-long slumber and was almost forgotten, becoming a myth, and several millennia had to pass before he awakened once again. As mentioned earlier, Ood Bnar also appears in a 90s comic book series called Dark Empire that depicts the time where Luke Skywalker founded the new Jedi Order and searches the galaxy for new recruits shortly after Palpatine's return. Yes, somehow Palpatine returned. When Luke travels to Ossus in 10 ABY, he relies on and consults the Tetran holocron to guide him. This holocron was also known as Vodo Siosk-Boss's holocron, the same Vodo Siosk who trained Exar Kun. This ancient holocron was filled with 4,000 years worth of Jedi history and teachings, containing wisdom from as far back as Ood Bnar, if not earlier. Before the Jedi Purge in 19 BBY, Ood Bnar was the gatekeeper of this holocron, a descendant of Seer's boss. As Luke explores the barren and ruined surface of Ossus alongside his apprentice Cam Solazar, they come across two native Isana tied to a suspiciously large and lone tree. The Isana descended from mostly surviving members of the Jedi who could not escape the destruction of Ossus during the Great Sith War, and found refuge in the great caverns under the Eocho Mountains. Over the centuries, they became a tribal society of Force sensitives who forgot their origin and language. Luke manages to free the two Isana before Palpatine's dark side elite agents arrive on Ossus, which result in a deadly conflict. Whether it was this disturbance from all the death occurring around him, or the strong presence of Luke Skywalker, the son of the One, is unknown. But nevertheless, Ood Bnar reawakens to fight his ancient enemy, agents of the dark side. Bnar grabs onto Cedrus, one of Palpatine's agents, with his long, vine-like arms, not transforming into a humanoid form, declaring himself to Luke, who recognizes Bnar from the Tetrran holocron, as he made his final stand against evil. In an attempt to kill the ancient Jedi, Cedrus draws upon the dark side, using the energy of the charged atmosphere. But Bnar, much older and wiser, draws upon the living energy of the planet he had been deeply rooted and connected to for millennia, and unselfishly sacrifices himself by imploding alongside his foe, and subsequently revealing the treasure buried beneath his roots that would go on to helping Luke Skywalker rebuild the Jedi Order. The oldest Jedi in history became one with the Force in a spectacular fashion, but not until he had helped secure future generations of Jedi in their fight against the Sith. Both through his preserved teachings in the Tetrran holocron, him defeating the evil forces of Palpatine, and therefore saving the son of the One, the New Hope. But he also left behind a descendant in the form of a new sapling to carry on his legacy. Thank you for sticking around until the end of the video. If you're looking for more of my videos discussing Old Republic lore, then check out my playlist of previous videos up in the right corner, or simply wait for the end screen. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on the future videos that I have planned. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then please consider giving it a thumbs up, it truly helps me out. And I would love to know in the comments, which ancient Jedi do you see as having a massive but subtle impact on the story of Star Wars? Finally, I would like to thank my beautiful patrons for their continued support. If you would like to become a patron for as little as $1 a month, then link and more details can be found in the description down below. Bye!